Ladies and gentlemen, couples young and old, those preparing for marriage and those rebuilding it, today I invite you to reflect on one of the most powerful forces that sustains love: trust. Marriage is often described as a journey, a partnership, a covenant, or a lifelong commitment. But at the heart of every description, bright or difficult, romantic or practical, lies one essential truth: trust is the soul of a marriage. Without trust, a marriage is simply a contract held together by obligation. With trust, it becomes a sanctuary, a refuge, a thriving garden where love grows in abundance. Trust is not a luxury in marriage, it is a necessity. It is not merely something that happens, but something two people build, protect, and renew again and again. Trust is the quiet force that makes a house feel like a home, the unseen glue that holds two imperfect human beings together through storms, uncertainties, and change. Today, I want to talk about the beauty of trust, the work behind it, the wounds that threaten it, and the healing that restores it. Most of all, I want to remind you that the foundation of trust can always be built, strengthened, rebuilt, or transformed, no matter your past, your mistakes, or your fears. Trust is sacred because it makes vulnerability possible. It is the moment when two hearts say to each other, "I give you the parts of me that nobody else sees, please take care of them." When two people marry, they exchange more than rings, they exchange faith in each other. They believe their partner will be loyal, kind, and honest. They hope their partner will offer support in times of weakness, compassion in times of pain, understanding when they falter. This exchange of faith is what makes the bond so powerful. Marriage is not the union of two perfect people, it is the partnership of two people who promise to try. Trust is built on that promise. And what a courageous promise it is. To trust someone is to open your world to them, to let them see your fears, insecurities, dreams, and flaws. To trust someone is not merely to believe they will not hurt you, it is to believe they value your well-being, your dignity, your heart. It is to believe that even when you disagree or fail each other, you will not abandon the relationship but work to restore harmony. Trust is the currency of emotional security. A marriage with trust feels peaceful even in chaos. A marriage without trust feels chaotic even in silence. We like to imagine trust as a grand gesture, a vow spoken at an altar, a bold declaration of love, a heroic act of sacrifice. But the truth is far quieter. Trust is built and rebuilt in small, everyday moments, the gentle responses, the consistent actions, the reliable behaviors, the unspoken reassurances. Trust is when your spouse says, "I'll be home by 7," and they make every effort to keep that commitment. Trust is when they speak kindly even when frustrated, when they listen even when tired, when they choose honesty even when lying would be easier. Trust is when they hold your secret tightly, when they apologize sincerely, when they protect your feelings rather than exploit your vulnerabilities. Trust is a practice, not a proclamation. Every day, through thousands of tiny decisions, couples either strengthen or weaken the trust between them. They either deposit into their relational trust bank, or withdraw from it. How did they build it? Through 3 simple yet profound habits. 1. Consistency, showing up the same way even when circumstances change. 2. Transparency, choosing honesty rather than secrecy. 3. Compassion, responding with understanding rather than judgment. These habits do not require perfection, only intention. You do not have to get trust building right every time, no one does. What matters is your willingness to keep trying, to keep choosing love over pride, humility over ego, truth over deception. In a world that often encourages us to show the best version of ourselves, trust in marriage requires the courage to show the real version, the human one. Not the polished self, the flawless self, the self that posts perfect pictures or speaks in perfect tones. But the authentic self who doubts, who fears, who dreams boldly but sometimes stumbles painfully. A marriage rooted in truth does not hide. It does not pretend. It does not bury feelings under politeness or avoid conflict to maintain artificial peace. Real trust welcomes difficult conversations, knowing they strengthen rather than destroy the relationship. Being honest with your partner means saying, "I made a mistake. I feel insecure. I am afraid. I need help. I didn't like how that made me feel. I'm sorry." Honesty is not about attacking your partner's character, it is about communicating your inner world. It is about letting them see your emotional landscape, your hopes, your hurts, your needs. Trust thrives in truth and suffocates in silence. Let us be honest, trust breaks. Sometimes through neglect, sometimes through misunderstanding, sometimes through the slow erosion of unresolved conflicts, and sometimes through painful betrayal. Trust can be shattered not only by big events like infidelity but also by small acts of disrespect, dishonesty, or emotional withdrawal. But here is the profound truth: broken trust does not mean broken marriage. Many marriages survive the breaking of trust, not by pretending it didn't happen, but by courageously confronting the wound, grieving it, and rebuilding slowly. Rebuilding trust is not about perfection, it is about dedication. It requires two things. 1. The humility of the one who broke it, the willingness to apologize without defensiveness, to change without resentment, to be patient without pushing. 2. The willingness of the one who was hurt, the courage to express pain, the willingness to allow space for growth, and eventually, the openness to forgive. Forgiveness is not the immediate restoration of trust, it is the first step toward it. Rebuilding trust takes time, days, months, sometimes years. But when two people commit to healing, to accountability, and to compassion, trust can emerge not only restored but stronger than before. Trust lives in communication. The way couples speak to each other shapes the emotional climate of the relationship. Healthy communication is not about speaking perfectly, it is about speaking authentically and compassionately. To build trust in marriage, speak in ways that foster connection. Speak with honesty, not hostility. Speak with patience, not pressure. Speak to connect, not to win. Speak to understand, not to accuse. Couples who communicate with kindness build emotional safety. They learn to express feelings in ways that do not harm the relationship. They learn to articulate needs without demanding perfection. They learn to listen not for the sake of replying but for the sake of understanding. Communication is not merely the exchange of words, it is the exchange of hearts. And when hearts are exchanged with openness and gentleness, trust flourishes. To trust your spouse means believing they will do what is right even when no one is watching. Trust is built on integrity, on the unwavering commitment to do what aligns with your vows, your values, and your partner's well-being. Accountability in marriage does not mean constant surveillance. It means willingly living a transparent life because you value your partner's peace more than your personal convenience. People sometimes speak of marriage as losing freedom. But accountability is not loss, it is love in action. It says, I want to be the kind of partner you can rely on. I want my actions to match my words. I want you to feel safe with me. When both partners choose integrity, trust becomes unshakable. One of the most profound fruits of trust in marriage is emotional security. Emotional security is the feeling of being safe, not physically, but emotionally. It is knowing that your partner will not weaponize your weaknesses or dismiss your feelings. It is knowing that even on your worst days, you will be treated with dignity and respect. In a marriage with emotional security, you can disagree without fear of abandonment. You can disappoint your partner without fear of being unloved. You can reveal your flaws without fear of ridicule. You can be your whole self without fear of rejection. When a marriage becomes emotionally safe, it becomes the most powerful environment for personal growth. Spouses evolve, expand, dream bigger, attempt harder challenges, and heal from old wounds because they have a stable home for their hearts. Trust grows when partners feel they can rely on one another. Reliability is not about doing big things occasionally, it is about doing small things consistently. A trustworthy partner is reliable in daily responsibilities, emotional availability, financial decisions, parenting choices, conflict resolution, keeping promises, showing up in times of need. Marriage is a team sport. You win together, lose together, heal together, grow together. Trust turns the relationship into a powerful team, a partnership where both people know they can lean on each other without fear of collapse. Marriage, like life, has seasons. There are seasons of joy and abundance, seasons of struggle and uncertainty, seasons of growth and transition. Trust is the force that helps couples navigate these seasons without losing each other. When a couple builds trust, they learn to weather storms. Job losses, health struggles, emotional burnout, family conflicts, parenting challenges, identity shifts, aging and change. Trust whispers, "We will get through this together." It transforms hardship into unity, pain into resilience, and uncertainty into connection. Trust is not built once and assumed forever, it is a continuous choice. Every day, couples must choose. To love, to forgive, to communicate, to believe the best, to act with integrity, to show respect, to be patient. Trust is not something you earn permanently, it is something you demonstrate daily. Marriage works not because two people love each other perfectly, but because they choose each other consistently. Forgiveness is an essential part of trust, not just forgiveness for big betrayals but forgiveness for everyday disappointments, harsh words, forgotten commitments, and human weaknesses. Forgiveness does not mean ignoring pain. It means letting go of resentment so that love can breathe again. When couples choose forgiveness, they create room for trust to grow again. They allow the relationship to heal rather than decay. They acknowledge that perfection is impossible but restoration is always possible. When trust is nurtured and protected, a marriage gains a kind of beauty that cannot be replicated by passion alone. The reward of trust is peace. It is the quiet comfort of companionship, the deep joy of emotional intimacy, the security of knowing you are loved for who you truly are. A marriage built on trust becomes a place of strength, joy, mutual respect, deep laughter, honest conversation, shared dreams, lifelong partnership. Trust gives marriage its soul. Building trust in marriage is not a one-time action, it is a lifelong devotion. It is the slow and steady weaving of two lives into one. It is the continuous promise, I am here. I choose us. I choose you. To those seeking to strengthen their marriage, begin with honesty, communicate with compassion, and act with integrity. Trust takes time, but every step toward it brings immeasurable peace. To those rebuilding trust, there is hope. With patience, humility, and mutual commitment, trust can rise again, stronger and purer than before. To those preparing for marriage, understand that trust is your greatest investment. Nurture it daily, and it will sustain your love through every season of life. Trust turns love into a lifelong journey. Trust turns commitment into companionship. Trust turns marriage into a sanctuary for the soul. May you build it. May you protect it. May you cherish it. And may it guide your marriage into a future filled with connection, peace, and enduring love.